This mutation is called Field of Screams, and man, did it send a lot of people screaming in rage. We have two mutators active on missed opportunities. We have Polarity, and we have Minesweeper. So, Minesweeper will have Polarity as well, so the mines that are spawned around the minimap, or around the map, will have Polarity as well. And one of the things that made this mission so frustrating and was responsible for a lot of redos was the fact that the minefields would actually spawn over here. And because they would spawn over here, as soon as the bot came out, it would die, and you'd basically be scratching your head, and you'd be like, okay, so I guess if I lose now another bot, I end up losing the game. So that was basically the reason why people would retry this mission. So over here, we can see Dehaka is relatively okay. Still preventing like aggroing some of the Polarity units over here. But Dehaka is a relatively decent commander for this one. He is able to move around and at least to clear some of the enemy units over here. While Handhorner continues to ramp up. So Handhorner is putting down a command center. He is also putting down an Assault Galleon, and he'll have a little bit of DPS, which will allow him to start clearing. So there's a little ping from Handhorner telling Dehaka where to go. Dehaka has to be really, really careful because these minefields are all over the map. And if he's not paying attention, he can end up getting smoked over there. So he kind of notices that there is a minefield on the site and decides to turn around, which is the wise thing to do. One of the problems is because these minefields are cloaked and Dehaka doesn't have his detection early, he does end up getting stifled a little bit in terms of his farming capability in the mission, so it does slow down his progress. And having a low level Dehaka is not that great. See, so he's only level 1 right now, but unfortunately there's nothing really much that he can do to farm the essence from the enemy units, so it'll be a little bit difficult for him. There is an attack wave that's coming up now, so that'll be okay. We do know it is a Zerg attack wave, so we're gonna see whether it does lings and roaches. It looks like we will be dealing with the roach attack wave here. So there are a few mag mines here that end up taking out the Handhorner's part of the attack wave. For the most part, I believe. I think some of these units do end up absorbing some of this damage. So there'll be another bunch of mag mines here. Again, does end up taking out that roach. And then Dehaka jumps in, cleans up the rest of the attack wave, and he is fine. And Horner is using a bunch of Reapers and his Assault Galleon to clean up that main rocks there. Very, very important for Handhorner to get his economy up and running, because Hand's units are actually really, really weak. Once you transition up to Horner's units, you will have a significant power spike in the game. But in the early game, there's no way you can get your Battle Cruisers out or your Wraiths, so it does significantly slow you down. Over here, Horner's Raven is already out, and it is putting some detection here for Horner's units to clear out. As you can see, the Assault Galleon has a very, very large range, so it's eventually going to clean up these Widow Mines and the Spire Mines here, and then the rest will be up for Dehaka to clean up as well. Dehaka is over here, and there are a bunch of mag mines on this side, so they will help clear out some of the stack wave. Unfortunately though, there is Polarity, and if these things do trigger on Polarity, they will end up being wasted in terms of DPS. Good thing is they have a little bit of splash damage. We do have a space station reallocation that has come down here, but as you can see, unaffected by the wind mines here. First attack wave has been cleared, and now there is another attack wave that's coming up on the way. Unfortunately, there are no mag mines here to help Dehaka, but Dehaka is able to tank here, so these things will arm, and they will trigger on this attack wave, and this attack essentially gets completely cleared up. And Dehaka continues to finish up whatever is left of this. There's one last roach over there. I don't think Dehaka has paid attention to that. Yeah, that unfortunately was Dehaka's roach. It was not the Handhorner's roach. So that was kind of a bit wasted on the mag mines there. But now we have a primal worm here that is there for Dehaka to start cleaning up these mines. So overall, relatively okay. The first bot has survived. There are 2 more bots on the way. And we can see here Dehaka already has his Morvar's Den, which is really good. He's going to start pushing in here. As you can see, these things do not aggro the Primal Worm, so this is a really good strategy there. 2 Spire Mines do aggro Dehaka, and luckily for Dehaka, he is able to tank that kind of damage. But unfortunately, there was another shot here from one of the other Mag Mines, and ends up taking Dehaka out. So that Mag Mine there ended up killing Dehaka off. But Dehaka will respawn, and he'll be back. We have another, we have a call in the fleet there, just to help Dehaka clean up this site. Very, very important, because these things actually deal a lot of damage to the harvesting bots, and the harvesting bots will end up dying. So having this area cleared out is of the utmost priority. Dehaka is making his way over here, and let's have a look at see what Dehaka's plan is. So he's getting the aerial burst stacks upgrade for Murvar, so I think he might be going. Actually, he might be doing the explosive creeper like primal host and the creeper host build, which is actually not that bad. But we'll see what Dehaka's plan is. Over here we have a few more things that are to be cleared out. I think this one is Dehaka's. I think the ones with the shields are Dehaka's. But no, these are hand horners. Right. There was a bug at some point where the shields was actually not displaying correctly for Polarity. We can see another attack wave now here. Magmine's aggro and end up essentially weakening this attack wave a lot. Dehaka does jump into the fray. Unfortunately, does end up getting killed off by this attack wave, but Murvar comes down now and drops the explosive creepers to try and weaken this side. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of Polarity on here, but they end up getting cleaned up by Handhorner's assault galleons. There is another attack wave that has spawned. Murvar is in position, uses her creeper host to clean up the site. But again, these assault galleons not really too great at dealing with these roaches, so Handhorner will need some reapers to clean up the site. And over here, Murvar has moved down to try and clean up her part of the attack wave. We have a bunch of Magmines to get put down, but unfortunately they get focus fired down by the roaches. But now Handhorner has a good number of roaches, good number of reapers here to help clean up the attack waves. Another attack wave has spawned over here, and a lot of strike fire platforms end up going down with the napalm upgrade as well. Those are great upgrades, especially when you're dealing with the ground zerg attack wave. That will be very, very useful for weakening these waves in their entirety. Another jump in here for the Great Old Primal Worm. And Handhorner drops into strike fire platforms here to clean up her set of the mines. And I think there's one more Widow mine there that belongs to Handhorner, but it needs to be cleaned up at some point, I believe. Oh, those are, I think that's a Spire mine there, which is again a little bit of a problem, but those things will get cleaned up at some point. There is an attack wave that is making its way towards Handhorner's base. As you can see, the napalm upgrade for the strike fire platforms are really, really good. Doctrine does come down as well, really good call down for round waves. So very, very nice composition here for our commanders. And the second wave of harvesting bots has been saved. Doctrine jumps in right here, absorbs a lot of the Spire Mine shots there, ends up taking that out. Unfortunately, Dehaka also gets focus fired down by the defenders on that side and ends up going down. There is a strike fire attack here with a space station reallocation, which ends up essentially one-shotting a lot of the units there. But again, as you can see, there is a Polarity swarm host on the side, so Dehaka will need to pop in there and clean up that site. So as you can see, yeah, we have primal hosts here for Dehaka. These are really great units on this map. Not only for mutations, but in general they are really, really good. Having just these temporary units with the explosive creepers are really, really useful. But lots of primal worms now have been coming down. These are a useful. These are a useful tool for dealing with these mines, because these mines will not aggro these worms there. Dehaka is a little bit too close to this minefield over there. He has to pay attention a little bit, otherwise he may end up getting smoked by that wave here. The next wave of harvesting bots has come down, and Handhorner is again like just hammering away on these mines, trying to clear them out. There are a lot of minefields on this map. This map is fairly large as well, lots of open space here. There is a Great Old Primal Worm that gets put down to try and clean up the site, but there is a swarm host over here, so these worms do end up getting shot down. Dehaka will have to jump in there and clean up the site. Over here there is another attack wave here, and Handhorner is in position and ends up cleaning up the Polarity units here, but I believe Dehaka will need to jump in here. So there is a little bit of aggroing on this side. Unfortunately, they do end up taking out these two primal hosts here. So actually, unfortunately for Dehaka, he has lost 10 primal hosts on in that engage there. Polarity is a really nasty mutator, so if you're not really paying attention, it can cause a lot of problems. So Dehaka does end up eating that Mutalisk on this side. Handhorner using their army to just soak up the damage while Dehaka gets back into position. Klevik has come down as well to try and deal with this attack wave. There's another attack wave here, so Dehaka will probably end up using a Scorched Breath here to deal with this wave over here. He's doing okay so far. The bots have taken very little damage, which is really good. But now there is another attack that is coming up on this side, and two of the primal worms for Dehaka to get deep tunneled across, but one ends up going down. I think the other one will also end up going down. Napalm does end up getting dropped onto the stack whip, killing off pretty much everything that belongs to Han Horner, but Dehaka's attack wave is still available there, and Dehaka will have to clean that up. There are a few Reapers now. They end up flying in the air just to try and take a little bit less damage from the ground and from the vultures over here. But again, these are all Dehaka's units, and Dehaka will have to clean them up by himself, and this is what makes Polarity really difficult. To be honest, like, one of the things that you can do against Polarity if you are confident is have your ally leave and then just end up microing a little bit, but it is very, very tricky. Dehaka does end up going down now again to that attack wave, and now that attack wave is going to make its way towards these harvesting bots over here. Dehaka does send three primal worms through deep tunnel, and they will clean up this wave here, and that last bot has been saved. Han Horner playing hyper aggressively over here, just napalming a lot of these enemy units here. So this is again Dehaka's department. He will have to clear that side here as well as some of these units over here, because Han Horner can't really deal with anything here. And now there is another attack wave, and this is one of the larger attack waves in this mission, and usually there are hybrid dominators in there. There we go, yeah. So there are hybrid dominators there, and this is going to be really, really nasty. Murvar comes down to prevent the hybrid dominators from using their abilities, and both the commanders just charge in over there, and there is a psionic eat from Dehaka, which ends up wiping a lot of the Dehaka's units there on this side. There are a bunch of Widow Mines here. They will aggro a little bit Dehaka, but Dehaka now is fairly large. He's fairly big, and he will be able to tank a lot of the damage that's dealt to him. So he has 1,500 HP, which is really, really good. But again, he has to clean out a lot of these mines here. I think there are still some mines left over for Han Horner, so Han Horner will end up cleaning up this side. Morvar is doing a really good job with these explosive creepers as well, so using Morvar to clear really, really great here. Just using these temporary units to soak up the Spire Mine hits can be very, very useful in keeping Dehaka alive throughout this push here. But again, there are 3 camps that need to be cleared, and only 1 has been cleared. There's still a bunch of mines on this side, which is a bit of a problem, but not too much, because the bot is not going to be spawning on this. It'll not be in range of these mines over here. Dehaka does choose to charge in over here. Now drops Dakran down. The Dakran does end up soaking up a lot of the Widow Mine hits on this side. There's still a few Widow Mines on the back of this camp here. But now Han Horner's army is also in position, and Dehaka deep tunnels a bunch of primal worms on this side to and this camp actually ends up going down, so that's good. One last camp to go. As you can see, pushing is really difficult when you have Polarity and these really, really heavily defensive positions, especially combined with Minesweeper. So we have 4 napalms that end up going down to, I think they end up clearing a lot of the mines on there. So I think Dehaka now is just responsible for cleaning up the rest of the side. There is a Spiral Mine that ends up getting focused down on Dehaka, but Dehaka devours one of the enemy units on that side. And now you can see Dehaka is actually able to tank these mines, which will give him a lot more utility in cleaning up these minefields. These 3 camps have been cleared, and now there is a harass wave that is making its way towards the bot near the top. And both the commanders will need to be in position for the course of this mission, because Polarity is very not fun to play against. So Han Horner pushes in, engages with the Reapers and a bunch of Wraiths as well, and Dehaka jumps in and basically creates a Devour explosion, which ends up cleaning up most of the stack wave. So that first harass wave has been essentially cleared up. There is one last lurker that's left on this side, but Dehaka is ready now to deal with the next phase here. A bunch of Han Horner's napalm ends up coming down and cleaning up Han Horner's section of the attack wave. And Dehaka jumps in now and is left with a few more units to clean up, but again, combined with the Raven's target lock-on ability, attack wave gets cleaned up fairly well. There is now another attack wave that's coming up here, another harass wave, and again, we have a Glevig that has been dropped on this side, and Glevig uses a Scorched Breath to instantly shred this attack wave and wipe it out. There are a few more enemy units left. I believe these are mostly Han Horner's units now. No, there's a bunch of Roach, and there are a bunch of Roaches and a Hydralisk, but they end up getting roasted by Glevig. Now we have another harass wave on this side, and Dehaka has a bunch of primal hosts in position, and these primal hosts are going to be very, very useful. These creeper hosts they deal a lot of good splash damage, and as I said earlier, they're actually really good on this map, because this map is kind of a defensive map, even though you are required to move around a little bit. These primal hosts and the explosive creeper hosts are actually relatively useful.
Your base is under assault.
There is another harass wave that's come up on this side. I think it's going to take out this first worm. And the second worm actually may go down as well if Dehaka does not send something out there to it. But Handhorner is in position now. Does end up aggroing a lot of the units here, but these are all Dehaka's units now. There is one last attack wave that is coming up here near the north, so these commanders will have to try and clear it out. Napalm again gets dropped on this side, deals a lot of damage, instantly clearing off a lot of the enemy units on this side. So Handhorner has essentially cleared out this side, but Dehaka will need to come in here to clean up the rest. So we have the explosive creepers that have sent their that'll be used to clear this escort wave here. Or this harass wave. It's mostly an harass wave. There should be one more attack wave now that'll be coming up. This is the official attack wave that'll be going towards the player bases. And will be spawning at some point. But again, Dehaka has a lot of creeper hosts, so he should be fine. We have an opening here for Handhorner. Handhorner is using the strike fire platforms just to weaken these enemy defenses on this side. And I think I might have missed the attack wave, to be honest. I think I might have missed the attack wave, I'm not sure. I can't remember the timing. Casting is hard. But as you can see over here, Dehaka is pushing through. And again, a lot of these units, this Widowmine belongs to Handhorner, but Handhorner will clear that out. We have the bonus has spawned as well, but I don't believe the commanders are going to be interested in taking out that bonus. It's just too risky. As you can see over there, one Widowmine goes off, takes out a lot of the Reapers from Handhorner, but those Reapers are expendable, and Handhorner has the resources to replace them. So we have another strike. We have another space station reallocation over here to try and take out that minefield. I personally would not have used it over there, but that is fine. Handhorner has the resources to end up clearing this side. I think this area has been cleaned up as well, so the commanders are just going to power up their armies right now, and we can see a battle cruiser now coming up for Handhorner as well. These battle cruisers are really, really good. They have a lot of DPS, very useful and very tanky units, so if you were to accidentally take a hit, you would not be losing your entire army in the process. One thing also that is to note is once these areas have been cleared, the mission is not extremely difficult. The thing that makes this mission very difficult is the Minesweeper mutation, because Minesweepers can, like the mines that are spawned around the map, can instantly one-shot a harvesting bot if you have not cleared in advance. And I think one of the reasons why people struggle a lot with this mission is a lot of the players who are a little bit less experienced in co-op will try to escort the bot rather than push ahead and clear in advance. So they ended up losing their harvesting bots before they could do anything, and it is actually a very hectic mission, as you can see over there. Like these bots have already left, and now the first harass wave has already started to spawn. So there's a lot. You have to be really, really careful, because you don't want to lose your entire army because your allies' mine ended up dealing a lot of damage to your army. So this first wave ends up getting cleared. There is one last lurker on this side, but unfortunately this is Handhorner's lurker, but Handhorner is turned away now to deal with this harass wave that is spawned on here. So this essentially has been cleared up by Handhorner. A bunch of the Dehaka's units are left on this side. And we have a bunch of mines that are being put down here. Very nice position here for the mines. These mines will help weaken this attack wave, and maybe even, if they get lucky, clear out Handhorner's portion of the attack wave. We have a bunch of harass wave on this side. Another one has spawned on this side as well, and this is going to be harassing this harvesting bot on this side. Some of the primal of the creeper hosts are out of position here and do end up getting focus fired down. This harvesting bot may actually end up going down. There is a shield ends up coming here, and Dehaka is now in position and just ends up saving that bot at the very last minute. There's now another wave here, but Handhorner drops a ton of napalm on this, and it clears up this side of the wave. And now we basically have a bunch of Dehaka units which end up getting deleted by Dehaka's creeper hosts. Next harass wave is on this side. Both the armies are in position though, which is really nice. So we should have no problems dealing with this next harass wave as well. Again, creeper hosts dealing a lot of damage to these waves. Handhorner's Reapers in the air to reduce the amount of damage they end up taking through the lurkers and the roaches that are a staple of this attack wave composition. Next wave has spawned on this side now. We have a bunch of roaches again. We have a bunch of reapers again, floating in the air to avoid the damage from the roaches and the lurkers. The flying reaper upgrade is very, very useful for Hand Horner. It increases the survivability against ground zerg by a lot, because these lurkers can actually shred your reaper army. So there we go. All in all, really good play from both of these commanders. The wave of harvesting bots are done. There is now an attack wave and a harass wave that needs to be dealt. So we have a bunch of napalm that goes down on here. Dehaka jumps into the middle of the fray here just to try and deal with this attack wave. This attack wave is a really, really massive attack wave. So most of this area has been cleared out. There is a primal worm here just put down to try and stall this. The allies have cleared this attack wave, and now they'll be making their way towards this harass wave to clean. And there's one more harass wave that has spawned as well on this side. They do get intercepted by some of the mag mines that have been triggered from the earlier wave. Some of them are going down. But again, the creeper host combined with Hand Horner's very powerful air army, this attack wave stands no chance, and essentially has been cleared up. This last wave is this last harvesting bot is going to make its way here, and will eventually end the mission. We're just going to wait. We're going to watch this bot over here. And Hand Horner just asserting dominance now to Amon. Drops a lot of the call downs here just to teach Amon a lesson. Flexing on Amon over there, just telling Amon who's boss. Yeah, don't mess with Hand Horner. Don't mess with Dehaka, because they have escorted all of Setman's bots to victory and safety, and that is GG.